You called the press conference. You wanted to speak to me. I'm here. Let's chat.
Tony comments today that there isn't enough room for 2 AFL clubs in Queensland. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think I've got lots of thoughts on that question. But firstly, it's a stupid proposition because what it doesn't do is take into account the long-term view of the development of AFL right across our country. So powers that be, I wasn't involved. It way preceded me. Powers that be, some time ago at the AFL Commission level and all the club presidents level decided to expand the competition, develop new markets in Queensland and New South Wales. Why did they do that? Because 52% of the Australian population lives north of the River Murray. So clearly if you're going to have a national sport or a national code, doesn't matter what it is, tiddlywinks if you like, you clearly have to develop the code in New South Wales and Queensland. Part of that decision was to start a side on the Gold Coast, and for my humble opinion, that's a really smart move. The Gold Coast, I know people don't like to talk about this, is the 6th largest city in Australia. It has a population of nearly 600,000 people. So I guess you get a choice. Do you abdicate and just give that market to another sport, or do you get in there and have a real fair income long-term crack, and that's 20 to 30 years. Anybody who thinks you can develop a sport in a market in 3 to 5 years is kidding themselves. And don't let's get into this ridiculous concept that the Gold Coast isn't a big enough market. Because if that's true, can somebody explain to me how the Green Bay Packers in North America, the smallest TV market in North America, it's a town of maybe 120,000 people, have one of the most successful NFL sides? So, look, it's another typical comment from somebody in Brisbane having an inadvertent crack at the Gold Coast. Look, Brisbane loves the Gold Coast because they've got nowhere decent to go to a beach and all of that. We understand they've got to come down here and, use our facilities when they want to have, a bit of time away and have a good time. But, the Gold Coast can more than handle itself. It can more than stand on its own 2 legs. And what the Gold Coast Football Club needs is for Gold Coasters to get out, support us. We're doing it tough. We freely admit that. We're being smashed at the moment with injuries again, and we're struggling. No, we don't back away from that. So what we need is the Gold Coast to get behind us and support us and, stick it up the smart comments from Brisbane, because everybody I can tell you lives on the Gold Coast is so over hearing how Brisbane should do it or how they shouldn't do it. What we should do is build a boom gate on that M1 and charge them to come down and visit on weekends. Next.
What was his motivation, do you think? Why would he want? And we're talking about Lee Matthews, not just some...
How do I know? I don't sit in Lee Matthews' mind. He doesn't sit in my mind, thank God. He's entitled to an opinion, and that's all it is, an opinion. Opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one.
Tony, you just made an impassioned plea for the people of the Gold Coast to support your club. And that's the key point, because you're rolling out a footy side every week in front of 12 and 13,000 people, and that's where the perception stems from, the crowd numbers. I don't think it stems from your corporate support or anything else, even your ability to develop players. It comes from the fact that people aren't coming to watch. They're not coming.
It can't come from our corporate support, because actually if you look at our corporate and our sponsorship numbers, we sit about mid-tier in the AFL. Actually, we sit above the Brisbane Lions.
Yeah, that's
so
what I asked you.
No, but that point's not made clearly enough and often enough. We do a very good job of that, as you'd expect in the 6th largest city in Australia. People don't come to the footy because we're trying to develop the AFL in what is, in case you hadn't noticed, Andrew, this is rugby league heartland. This is rugby league heartland. This is a natural AFL market. We're not Geelong or somebody who's been around for 150 years. We've been around for 5-6 years. So we have to, brick by brick, build up a foundation. And it's going to, I said before, I wasn't kidding, it's going to take 20 to 25 years, in my humble opinion. Not that there's too much humble about my opinion. But seeing everybody else wants to have an opinion, I'll jump in as well. And I'll defend this place to the back teeth. What we've done here, look around you at the facilities, look at our new 22 million TNA centre. We raised the money for that. So what we've done, what we're doing is we're in the business of building a great footy club here. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to be overnight wonders. We're not going to be instant successes. It's a tough, hard gig. And there's 128 people here in this organisation working really hard to make that happen. But what's not helpful is snide remarks like the remark of last night. Albeit he's an AFL great, I understand that, and he's got wonderful pedigree in the sport, tick all of those boxes. But that sort of comment is really not helpful. It's not helpful to the Gold Coast Suns, it's not helpful to AFL in Queensland, and it's not helpful to the AFL full stop. I would very strongly argue.
Do you think, in a sense, the game's cannibalising itself with comments like that, especially in this match?
Yeah, well, of course it is. I mean, I don't mind getting arrows fired at me head on because I can see them coming and hopefully I'll dodge a few, but I wasn't expecting to get them in the back. I mean, we shoot in our own here. We shoot in our own. We should be collectively working to build AFL. It's a great Australian Indigenous game. Australian Indigenous game. It's not an Indigenous game to 2 or 3 states. It's an Australian Indigenous game. Last time I looked, the Gold Coast was part of Australia, unless we've been cut off while I've been speaking. So the fact of the matter is, we should all be working together to build our game collectively.
So your competitors struggle down here too. Is it?
Who's my competitor? Sorry.
Well, I would suggest the Titans.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
So,
Look, I want the Gold Coast to get behind the Titans as well, to be perfectly frank. I want the Gold Coasters to stand up. It's a privilege to have a national team. It's not a right. It's not a right. It's a privilege. So that everybody from the mayor down, every resident on the Gold Coast should literally try and get behind one of these teams and give them some backing. And you have to back teams in the bad times as well as the good times. You just can't be there for when, you're having a win. You've got to be there, the good, the bad and the indifferent. And I understand people get frustrated when you're not winning. Believe me, I love winning. I hate losing. I'm not a good loser. There we are. There's a banner headline in case anybody didn't pick up on it. But the truth is, good winners are also there for when you're doing it a bit tough. And the Gold Coast community needs to stand up. Are they going to let Brisbane dictate to them? We're already being belted by the government with their rental charges, their police charges, their bus charges, and everything else they can hit us with here. So, Gold Coasters need to stand up. We need to claim a bit of our own territory back. That's what really annoys me about some of this debate.
do you think not we,
You can say we. I like we.
do you think the decision makers underestimated the task at hand? And your predecessor himself had promised us 20,000 members and a premiership by now. But you're saying it's a 30-year. Where's the middle ground?
Well, firstly, I'm not here to speak about what others might have said and did. I've actually a good enough voice to speak for myself.
Lee Matthews said. Now,
Well, because he came out yesterday with a quote. I didn't provoke the quote. I didn't say, Lee, please jump in the press and make some outrageous quote about the Gold Coast Suns.
Press conference, we ask questions and hopefully you answer them. So I want to know, did we misjudge?
Well, I can't speak for others. From my own point of view, I believe it's a 20 to 25 year build. And I've said that direct to the AFL commissioners. Yep. I've said that to the AFL CEO. I've certainly said that to the Director of Operations, etc., who used to be the CEO here. And in conversations I have with these people, they get that this is what I call the Japanese view of life. And what I mean by that, it's a long-term thinking process. These are long-term things. They take years to put into place and build up. And it's, disingenuous of somebody who was a member of the Hawthorn Football Club with a massive long pedigree and history to be having a snipe at a club that's 5, 6 years old, in my humble opinion. So, the truth of the matter is, it's a tough gig. I came into this job knowing it was a tough gig. I did a previous job as an executive chairman for 16 and a half years. When I started out, we had nothing. We had no one. I understand what it's like to go from a dot to something larger. And I know that it's damn hard work. And I'm up for the damn hard work. And my sense around this club is so is everybody else. So is everybody else.
Tony, if you walk around here on the weekend, or if your game's on the weekend, if you said to some of the fans you're going to wait 20, 25 years to win a premiership, you reckon they're going to cop that? Is that what you're saying? And how long do they go before you actually...
No, because you're judging success by winning a premiership.
Yeah, but that's what the game's all about.
Well, that's part of what the game's all about, but you can have great crowds without, I can't think quickly enough on my feet, but, plenty of teams have great crowds. Richmond have great Collingwood have great crowds, they're not exactly drowning in premierships in the last 30 years.
Do you think the question Lee would have made this comment after you won the first 3 games? Do you reckon it's a bit like you're down in the dumps? Do you find that the timing industry, like you won the first 3, you talk about finals footy, and now it's come out now after you're struggling and got a few injuries. Are you a little bit...
Look, yeah, it's human nature, isn't it? We all love to kick the bloke that's down. You know, it's one of the worst aspects of Australian life. You know, you kick the bloke who's down and out, who's having a bit of trouble. It's something, you know, that I hate about how we do things in this country. It's, you know, we do a lot of things really well. That's one of the things that really annoys the crap out of me. But the truth of the matter is, we need everybody supporting and helping us. We particularly need the Gold Coast community doing that, but we need everybody in the AFL as well. It's a symbiotic relationship. They didn't get a $2.5 billion media TV rights deal because that's what they would have got if it just had been a Victorian, South Australian, WA game. They got it because News Corp in particular, your organisation Foxtel, bought into the fact that this was a true national competition. Truly, truly national competition. And to have that, what, you ignore the sixth largest city in Australia? I don't think so.
Just on that though, do you think, like Hamo was saying before, do you think there's something about this 600,000 who do live here, there's certain malaise towards sport? Is there going to be some sort of change in the DNA, the way people think on the Gold Coast about supporting clubs? Like, it just seems as though it's sort of slightly indifferent to a normal city with 600,000, you know.
Well, it doesn't...
Something about that?
Because it's a young city. It's grown so quickly. You know, in 20 years, it's gone from 120, 140,000 people to 600,000. So because it's grown so quickly, it really hasn't developed its own sense of identity, in my opinion. And part of that is, part of that's the answer. Part of it also is, it's such a great lifestyle here. You know, it's so easy to go and lie on a beach. The weather's always, for the main, fantastic. You know, there's so many options, you know. So we don't have that history, we don't have that buy-in yet, but you don't give up. Because you don't have that, you don't say, oh, surrender, run away, go away, you know, we'll just all pretend we're not here. In my opinion, you jump on the front foot and we dig in, and as I said before, you've got to dig in when the going gets tough. And the tough's, you know, it doesn't get any tougher, I promise you. I don't sit around a board table with this club going, oh, packet of lollies here. Oh yeah, of course they can be compared. They've done a terrific job with list management, but then they've also been really fortunate, particularly this year with injuries. I mean, if you look at the moment, we've got our three of our elite midfielders are out, long-term injuries. We've got our centre-half back out. We've got our full-back out. We've got both our wingers out. We've got our half-back flanker out. You take 8 of those people out of GWS, Collingwood, North Melbourne, and I'd suggest to you that they'd be struggling a bit as well. No, I absolutely support the fact that there's 18 clubs needed. Brisbane's a huge market. Of course, Brisbane should have its own AFL club, and I wish them the best of luck with their own AFL club. But, you know, to just attack us, and not even attack us in a fair dinkum manner. I mean, we didn't even know it was coming. It was a blindsided kick. It's a bit like, to be honest, it's a bit like knocking a bloke out from behind, in my humble opinion.
Jeff Kennett's coming behind him and said, yeah. Good.
Oh, good for Jeff Kennett. You know, the old Hawthorn president, another Hawthorn. You know, what is this, a Hawthorn love-in?
Tony, are you being let down by your fans?
Of course we are. Of course we are. We want more of them to do the right thing, get behind the Gold Coast Football Club and get along. Get along. It's a great night out here at Metricom. It's a terrific club. You know, there's a lot of heart. It's a great family environment. We have, you know, a lot of fun here. You know, the boys are trying their darndest. Things aren't going well for us. I get all of that. But you don't surrender. Good God, that's not Australian to surrender. It's, you know, the natural thing to get behind and back us up.
Tony, are you concerned about the performances of the team at the moment might detract from guys who have put contract talks on hold at the moment? Or I guess you need that going forward?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'll tell you why I'm not, Tom. Because if somebody doesn't want to be with us for all the things we now stand for, then, you know, they may as well move on. I'd rather have somebody 100% committed than somebody who's 80% and, well, the money's good there, so I just hang around. We want, for us to be a great and successful football club, it's no different to any other endeavour of sport. We have to have real discipline, we have to have real commitment, and we have to have real belief in what we're doing.
Tony, do you think that the Lee's comments in any way can damage the SUNS? You know, they are trying to sort of come back from injury and get some hit players.
Of course they damage the SUNS. I wouldn't be standing here today if I didn't believe that. You know, in a perfect world, I didn't want to have to do a press conference at all today. I'm standing here today because those comments are incredibly damaging. They're incredibly damaging to our sponsor base. They're incredibly harmful to our supporter base. You know, you've got to remember, I've got a 13-year-old son, plays junior football on the Gold Coast, right? We've got nearly 10,000 juniors now on the Gold Coast playing footy. You know, do you think they want to hear that their football side's irrelevant? You know, ask yourself. I mean, that is incredibly damaging at that junior level. That's incredibly damaging at that junior level. And that's why I'm so furious that people are having these cheap shots at our club when we're doing so well at that junior level in particular.
Thank you. Next
Can I
time.
ask just one question quickly? Cricket Australia looking at Metricon as a ground for T20 games. Is that something you'd support?
Absolutely, I'd support it. We've got a fantastic facility here. You can see all the building work going on around us. By the start of next year, this is going to be an outstanding sporting site. Nearly $500 million will have been spent here over the last 10 years, developing it as a fantastic sporting site. So we encourage Cricket Australia, T20, one-dayers, test matches. We encourage we'll have as many concerts. We'll take whatever's coming. We're open for business. Bring it on.